to the LCQ for Wisconsin Esports Conference Overwatch. My name is Vinny. I'm the coach for the UWRF Esports Overwatch team. We are getting into the week 1 of the LCQ. This is for the last chance qualifier to make it into playoffs here. Either of these teams lose, and that is their season done. It's going to be UWRF versus the University of Milwaukee. And we started out on a control map here. Lijiang Tower and Night Market. UWRF opting for a Ramatra rush comp with a Sojourn potentially sticking on the sim into a Queen rush comp. However, I will note that the Jetpack Cat is a rather interesting choice. Both Symmetras just teleporting their team out of spawn, going to be swapping over to the Tracer. Tracer very strong on this map at controlling space because of her mobility. And they're going to be getting picked off on the Sojourn, rail connecting, and Tracer flanking in. UWRF going to be going down 2 as their Brigida takes an act of the thing. Tracer just opting to restart, and UWRF running back into the spawn room. UW-Milwaukee is going to get the first flip on the point here, and are going to be setting up for a close hold, it appears. UWRF going to be opting to walk left here, try to not get completely stomped. Queen going in, force the shout. Tracer flanking in, gets the backline. UWRF going to be falling quickly. Queen going to be staying up, falls quite low, but UWRF already down far too many people to actually take this fight. UWRF going to have to reset once again. Milwaukee really playing aggressive here. They're really trying to get this Ramatra pick here if they can. Going to force out the form here. Will having to opt for the block. Not going to have it now to push through this choke. But Sparky wins the Tracer duel. That's going to put UWRF up here. Slight advantage. Queen trying to secure this. Juno pick is going to get it. Juno not able to, playing a little too close, did not respect the Queen's rampage there. Grandma walking on a point. They are tied, but however, down the tank is quite a difficult thing, and Tracer has come back. UWRF going to lose this third fight. UWRF really struggling to put anything together here. Only going to have the Pulse Bomb and the Annihilation out for here into the Queen ult and Pulse Bomb, as well as Jetpack Cat. Kitsune Rush going to be built shortly after, as well as Sojourn Railgun. UWRF just a bit behind. Queen burns her ult and fails it. Pulse Bomb goes wide as well. Just the Jetpack Cut ult. Annihilation coming in, but will Ramatra very low. Gonna die through his block. Tried punching a little too aggressively there. Didn't save his health at all. Sparky, the only one really to be able to pick up any eliminations this round. No one else on UWRF has really been able to find any kills. Wrecking Ball just to touch the point here, but not really going to be able to find anything. Meanwhile, UWRF struggling to walk in. The main does find the Kiriko, but Tracer going to fall down as well. Soj ult coming out from both teams, however, Enderfire falling before he gets to use any real use of it. UWRF really unable to win any fights, even when they did get that initial pick. Their Juno got picked too quickly after. It'll be interesting to see what kind of adaptations UWRF is going to be able to make going into this second round here. Gardens, second map. And UWRF going to be opting for a more dive-focused comp here. Lucio notably banned, which does make it very awkward to pick another support alongside this Kiriko. Brig is definitely not what I would pick, but I think UWRF just a bit outside of their comfort zone because of this ban. UWRF spots out the Jetpack Cat, gonna force it to fly away here. Also spotting that Tracer on the flank. Queen already on to point here. UWRF unsure, it seems, where they want to go. Just going to do some damage to this Queen. However, Sojourn is going to die to the Disruptor shot. And now it looks like UWRF not really going to be able to do much of anything here. Forced to TP out. Zuni opting for the suicide to reset a little quicker here. UWRF really not able to figure out much here. Going to be swapping onto the Kiriko Moira. However, Sparky does get staggered quite heavily here due to Kiriko. UWRF gonna need to wait here, but are they pushing too far forward? Queen already on the supports. Another stagger forced out here. UWRF just getting really greedy in their positioning. However, Queen just gonna be able to walk it off. And Sojourn gonna be picking up another kill. UWRF staggering even further. Tank likely to fall next here. UWRF has not gotten to take a fight in the last 30 seconds to a minute. However, Jetpack Cat going to fall. Tracer going low. Tracer trying to trace the other Tracer down here. Looks like she is going to escape, but UWRF does have a man up. However, due to this being in their spawn, by the time they get back, that Cat's going to be back to point, so it's not really alleviating anything other than getting them to be able to go to point. Grandma really out by himself. Tracer wins the duel, able to get out. Meanwhile, Grandma going a little bit too far forward there. Not really connected with his team at all, and UWRF gonna fall again. Swapping their characters again off the Sojourn onto the Emery. Not really amounting any ult charge here. UWRF just a little bit lost as to what to do. Ult gonna come through and kill the tank once again. UWRF not even going to be able to touch here. Really tough game. UW-Milwaukee looking extremely dominant in that series. We'll be going right to break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to the second round. We're going to be starting off here relatively quick on Suravasa, the Flashpoint map that UWRF did select for second. As they were the losers, they get to select the map as well as the first hero ban. UWRF selected Suravasa with a Maga ban, and the University of Milwaukee responded in kind with a Juno ban. University of Milwaukee has opted for 2 support bans here. UWRF going to be rolling out on the Queen Rush comp with a Lucio Kiriko. Similarly, University of Milwaukee is going to be rolling out on a somewhat similar comp, except they're going to have a Sojourn instead of a Reaper and a Cat instead of a Lucio. They're going to lack the speed except for the Shout from the Milwaukee. Milwaukee, though, has opted to split out here. Tracer going to be dueling here in the back. Does get the recall forced, but is getting help from the Cat. UWRF shouts in. Shout coming in. Queen getting really knocked hard here. Kiriko forced to Suzu, but however, Tracer going to lose the battle on the side here. UWRF going to be down. Wraith forced out. Ender Fire going to be falling shortly after. UWRF really struggling, not able to consistently win this Tracer duel on the side. Sparky probably going to have to start opting to just stay with the team or stay in the back line and keep that Tracer from flanking his own team rather than trying to make proactive plays on his own. Shout forcing out, huge carnage, gonna force the Suzu. UWRF really struggling, just taking a lot of damage. Forced to burn a lot of cooldowns there. They're kind of in an awkward spot here. Milwaukee just poking them down. They do have the range advantage with the Sojourn. All spam Suzu'd. Nobody goes gonna fall there. And Reaper able to come up with a pick onto the Kiriko. Gonna fall himself, but Queen gonna get picked from Milwaukee here. Sojourn kind of fly in and get this Lucio, but now is going to be getting evacuated to the height by the Jetpack Cat. Jetpack Cat going to about half health, however, the point is going to swap. Tracer gets picked by the Queen. Knife managing to find this, and it looks like Jetpack Cat going to pull the Sojourn away. However, she does get picked before she's able to get away. Sojourn going to be having to walk all the way back from point here. UWRF not opting for that hold out in the open just due to Milwaukee's range advantage. Just going to opt to pick Tracer going low here. Will get healed up. Alt's kind of even here on the side. Reaper going to be closing in on this alt. UWRF Milwaukee uses their alt, but it's going to mostly get cleansed. Suzu coming out from both teams. Jetpack Cat's still purple. UWRF not seeing it. Queen getting pushed in a little bit aggressively here. Gonna eat the Rampage. Jetpack Cat going to fall. Reaper also gonna fall here. Kitsune Rush comes out. Suzu in repliance. Grandma stays in it. Does not respect the Kitsune Rush. Gets bursted here. Beat coming out way too late to save him. And UWRF gonna lose the battle of the alts here. Grandma probably thinking that the Kitsune Rush from his own squad was going to come out here quicker than it ended up doing and ended up face tanking quite a bit harder than he needed to. Almost getting full bursted there. Going to be able to pick the Tracer. However, Reaper going to be forced to use his thing. UWRF going really low here. UWRF going to be picked off here despite getting that first initial pick. They're just never able to stabilize. Grandma taking a lot of damage. Lucio also taking quite a bit of damage. Queen looking for the kill. Gonna be out here, but pretty stuck out in the open. Overextends pretty hard on Sayonaror. Quite a tricky name to say, but overextends. UWRF going to be up the tank for this second point. Waiting his team here. They're pushing in. Pulse Bomb does land clean. UWRF picking up 2 more picks, and they're just going to try and flip the point over. Milwaukee stalling for as much as they can, but Jetpack Cat just going to leave. UWRF notably doesn't really have any medium to long range hit scans on their team to really deal with the Jetpack Cat. As long as Jetpack Cat is staying at relatively safe distances, UWRF going to really struggle to find that pick. UWRF rotating up height here. They're aware that Milwaukee is trying to enter from this high ground here. Tracer not flanking as of yet, dueling the other one. Ult goes wide from Jetpack Cat. Point being touched. Ult coming out, cleansed, but Lucio not going to pick up that cleanse. 3 ults coming in. Will pressing his Queen ult here. It's just going to get Suzu'd and not really have much of an effect. 3 were already dead on the team at that point. Getting hooked in, trying to touch. Kitsune Rush coming out, beat plus Reaper ult, however, no kills here. UWRF does manage to get the tick. They are up 1 at this time. Tracer only pick on their side. They're going to be able to flip the points. However, Milwaukee Black going to get another touch here unless UWRF is able to actually chase these kills down. If they are able to hunt one of these people down, they are all highly mobile. UWRF Tracer going very low. However, Milwaukee Black's Tracer also going extremely low. Looks like UWRF going to let her walk out, but that means Queen is going to touch on to point, but will be relatively alone. Only Jetpack Cat for support. Going to be running up. Sparky does go down here. UWRF now going to be down, but they do trade the Queen, which is a much bigger pick. Milwaukee having no tanks here to actually contest point. Only Tracer and Jetpack Cat really able to like dance around this. Jetpack Cat, however, does get the ult onto the Queen, is going to pull it off the map. It's suddenly even here. Reaper taking that shot to the head, but they're going low, very low. Reaper, they're going to be able to have to get off the point. UWRF barely squeaks that one out. They do lose the fight, but it looks like they get the points. UWRF Tracer, though, however, going to fall. Will be late for the next point. This is going to likely be a UW-Milwaukee first fight favored for them. Tracer will get out of spawn here actually relatively quickly, so I take that back. Tracer already looking on the flank here. Spots some of these people over, but they're going to hear him flanking behind, and Sparky's going to be quite far out. Tracer has been getting the better of him this game. Meanwhile, Tracer is going to be doing the duel, but it looks like the support's going back to help the fight. UWRF not really forcing the issue on the point. Does find flank around and find the Sojourn. Grandma, though, however, not respecting the damage. Gonna fall here. Pulse Bomb comes through onto the Lucio. UWRF going to fall here. Grandma getting just bursted, not respecting the burst damage on the side of University of Milwaukee. Thinking that without the Sojourn there was going to be relatively safe. However, it's not the case. Kiriko does do a lot of damage if she is hitting headshots. UWRF kind of standing out in the open, figuring that they do want to make this rotation over towards the point here. However, this Reaper taking a lot of damage, gets his Wraith form forced early. Not really going to have the option to go aggressive, waiting kind of on it. In the meanwhile, Sparky gets picked again in the backside. Queen sees the thing, does fall off the map, however, does purple 3 people. It is not going to matter. And second point is going to go over to University of Milwaukee. University of Milwaukee on map point here. If they do take this next control point, they are going to take this map. UWRF trying to catch some picks here. shouting forward for the speed, trying to get on this Sojourn. Sojourn going to slide away. Cat going to ult once again, going to kick this Queen. Queen not going to have any kind of response. They don't have anyone to really able to gun down this Cat. Sparky going to be able to find the pick, however, without their tank, testing points going to be extremely difficult. In 5v5, Overwatch tank does possess a lot more power than you would think than traditional tanks in other games. Because tank is kind of making up for 2 positions rather than the other double DPS and double support, losing your tank does cost you quite a bit in a fight. UWRF does have their main support Lucio go down. Grandma gonna die in the cast of his ultimate, eats the shot to the head. It's going to cost him the ult, and that's a huge ultimate for UWRF not to have. UWRF really struggling here. Going to swap to the Zarya. UWRF kind of just figuring maybe just bubble this Reaper, have him play a bit more aggressive, see if they can force anything out. Sojourn ult coming through. UWRF going to try and pop both support ults to make a play here. However, Sojourn able to just stay away, stay alive, finds 2 headshots, both gonna kill UWRF. Down 2 in this fight, just the 3 of them left. Not really gonna be able to do anything. Zarya getting picked, UWRF gonna have to give up map number 2. University of Milwaukee securing that with a nasty Sojourn ult. Secure map number 2. We're going to be going to break. It is game point for University of Milwaukee. If they are able to win this next point, they will be advancing in the LCQ. welcome back to our third game of the night. UWRF down 2-0 at the moment. UW-Milwaukee taking quite the commanding lead. These games have not been particularly close. We're going to be going to our push map here, New Queen Street. And we will have the comps from both teams coming out here in a second. UWRF going to be opting for a ball dive comp with the Soldier. Soldier, very good on this map, has a lot of flanking and mid-range line of sights that he really likes. Probably one of the better Soldier maps in the game. Meanwhile, University of Milwaukee kind of opting for more of a pokey comp with a Queen. Queen and Trace are going to be playing somewhat aggressive, but Kiriko, Wu Yang, and Sojourn definitely going to be trying to sit probably farther back to pump out some damage here. Both teams, UWRF opting to go sideways here. Kiriko going to TP away from the slam. Ball just going to be forced to probably leave here along with his Tracer. Ball falling really low here. Getting healed up now. Going to be having to sit pretty far back. Meanwhile, Sparky and the Soldier going extremely low. Both of them going to be falling at the same time. And push the point is getting quite underway here. UWRF going to be running away from this Queen. Hook goes out into the Soldier. Wu Yang trying to poke him down. Lucio going forward. Meanwhile, Ball able to find a pick onto the Tracer. Recall coming out for UWRF in the nick of time there, but they do have the man advantage. Just going to wait on their people, and now they find the Sojourn with the Lucio here, slamming onto the Wu Yang. Wu Yang going quite low. However, he doesn't get picked before the ball dies. Tracer trying to duel him. Not really able to secure the kill. Getting pocketed up by his other support here. And now Tracer going to be rejoining the fight. UWRF even, but they're down their tank. Just forcing them to back up here. And Tracer going to find a pick. Meanwhile, Wu Yang going to pick the Soldier. Soldier trying to run right out in the open. Just not going to be let to get away with that for free. And meanwhile, Milwaukee going to be forcing getting capped onto checkpoint number 1 here. This is notoriously the hardest part of the map. However, no Suzu for UWRF here. Gonna just fall to the Queen ult, slamming onto the Wu Yang, but he's not gonna fall. UWRF just really short of their damage. Just never quite having just enough. Soldier trying to get some damage off from high ground, but not able to pick these picks either. Without their tank, just really hard to contest, and they do not have control of this high ground, which is usually where you want to be sitting on the map. Tracer getting really chunked here. Ball just falling low, and meanwhile, Lucio gonna get hooked and die. Same with the Soldier. UWRF has ults to respond with, but they're just going wide. UWRF down almost everyone. Only Ball survived that fight. UWRF gonna have to come out of spawn and try to make something happen with the ultimates they have. Ball gonna be flanking around here, does have the minefield. Soldier visor also available. However, Queen just waiting in the wings here. Wu Yang going extremely low, does get picked. UWRF does respond with the first pick and does get them to stop pushing that cart for a little bit, but this is going to be a very difficult match here. Queen's still alive on this side of their team. However, UWRF does manage to get a pick onto the Sojourn as well. Going to be coming to slam the cart. Queen going pretty low, forced to shout, but she does have Kiriko healing. Ball trying to get onto the Kiriko. Tracer as well. Tracer from Milwaukee going quite low. Kiriko TPing in. No Suzu, no TP. The UWRF sees this. They're trying to get the slam, trying to get this pick here, but they're just not quite able to do it. Queen, however, extremely low as UWRF is able to get this Soldier out here to find these picks. And that's going to be Cleanser. Sights coming out. UWRF, despite having a 2-man advantage, is just really struggling in this game. Just feels like they are never able to really make anything happen, even despite the picks. Just not able to get this kill onto this tank unless he makes a mistake. Soldier running away. Tracer, meanwhile, getting this picked, and now it's just going to be Soldier trying to stay alive, getting hunted down by the Tracer, not able to really do anything. Ball does not have ultimate this time around to help stall the card out. They're going to have to make this pick onto the Wu Yang, but there's just not any damage anywhere else. Pulse Bomb goes wide, but does splash the Queen down to half health. She is going to fall, and that means that they're not going to have their tank available. Slam onto the Wu Yang. Going to get the pick. Sojourn, no slide, no Suzu. Does manage to get the headshot into there, and now Sojourn and Kiriko really making this miracle happen. Slam goes wide, doesn't get anyone. Ball mines onto the field, does not slam anyone into this. Kiriko dueling this ball is going to actually win it. Sojourn, however, falling to UWRF's DPS out of spawn, and they're not going to be able to actually secure the point once again. UWRF, though, not able to make any progress of their own, just fighting to not lose the game. Hog comes out from the side of UWRF, just not feeling the ball, was able to really make any progress here. Soldier on the point is kind of caught out. Kitsune Rush comes out from UWRF. However, they are not the ones securing the picks whatsoever. Just comes out once again after UWRF, already down quite a few, and I believe University of Milwaukee is just going to be able to walk this in without much trouble. UWRF going to have to come sprinting out of spawn to touch the points. And they don't really have much of a reaction. Tracer using everything. Wu Yang going low, going to use his own ultimate to try and win, but again, once again, Queen having the rampage, the carnage, and just secures the game. UWRF going to lose this game pretty decisively, as well as the whole series. Unfortunate for our season. However, we will be back once again next year. Congratulations to University of Milwaukee. Very well played, and good luck to them in the rest of the LCQ and playoffs if they're able to make it the whole way. That'll be us for the night, and we will see you next year. Bye-bye.